This is the plaintiff, Bethan Ward. She says the defendant is her ex-boyfriend, and she foolishly co-signed on a car loan for him, and also gave him the down payment money because he has terrible credit. She realizes now this was a dumb thing to do because she can't get him to pay her back, and she can't get her name off the car loan now that they've broken up. She's suing for $3,000, the amount she's out. This is the defendant, Kyle Taylor. He says he was dating the plaintiff and his now current wife at the same time in 2020. The plaintiff was having a relationship with his girlfriend at the time, and they were involved in a three-person relationship. Everyone contributed to the relationship. The plaintiff gave him $3,000 with no discussion of it being a loan, so he owes nothing. He's accused of being in a love triangle.
All parties, please get your right hands.
As of October of 2020, I was in a relationship with Kyle Taylor.
Yes,
and
that part
girl.
I got. And another girl, and the other girl is what to Kyle Taylor?
Is now his wife.
And was also his girlfriend at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in October of 2020, how long had you been dating?
About 6 months.
And how long had you been dating your mutual other girlfriend that is now his wife?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says that the defendant and her ex-boyfriend stiffed her on a car loan and she wants her money back. But the defendant says that he and the plaintiff were involved in a three-way relationship with another girl and they all contributed money, so they're even Steven. It's the case of managing a menage.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, yeah.
Okay, Ms. Ward, what's going on?
Hello. So I'm currently here because my ex-boyfriend, Kyle Taylor, we had signed off on a Jeep together in October of 2020. When we were together for 6 months. And at the time, we were in a relationship with another person. And he was moving to Maine from
hold on.
Jacksonville.
Break and explain to me what you're saying.
Sorry. So as of October of 2020, I was in a relationship with Kyle Taylor.
Yes, that part
girl.
I got. And another girl, and the other girl is what to Kyle Taylor?
Is now his wife.
And was also his girlfriend at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in October of 2020, how long had you been dating?
About 6 months.
And how long had you been dating your mutual other girlfriend that is now his wife?
The same time, 6
Same
months.
amount of time. How'd y'all,
Yes, ma'am.
like, meet each other in order to... I'm just curious because it's unusual, so I'm fascinated.
Right.
How does one find out that the other person is into this? Like, what happened? How'd that go?
So I met Tiffany first,
Okay.
his now wife. I met her through some mutual friends in a group that we had in Jacksonville. And then in March, that's when COVID happened and everything shut down. She introduced me to Kyle so that we could play video games together. And we just kind of started talking, and he had mentioned that him and Tiffany had always wanted another girlfriend. And I was like, okay. And I'd thought about it, never really considered it. And then I met up with all of them together.
Okay.
And we just kind of all agreed to start dating.
Well, this was the most interesting use of COVID, of the free time that COVID gives one that I've heard up to date. By October, everyone's dating everyone for 6 months, and then what happens?
And then it gets to the point where Kyle gets a job in Maine. He gets a job opportunity in Maine, and we find out that he needs to move to Maine.
And what does Kyle do?
He was a manager at Walmart.
Okay, so he's getting a job in Maine at Walmart?
Yes, as a manager.
Got it, go on.
And so he had a Camaro at the time, and he said that because it snows up there, he wanted a vehicle that wouldn't get stuck in the snow. So he said he wanted to go and trade in his Camaro for a Jeep. He had mentioned to me at the time that because I had really good credit and his credit wasn't great, he said it would be beneficial if I signed off on a vehicle with him.
Beneficial for whom?
For him to be able to have easier payments, and for when you sign off on a vehicle and you have good credit, you get a better deal when you purchase a vehicle.
Except for that he isn't buying a hoopty that'll do him in the snow, is he? He's buying a $50,000 Jeep. So
Yes.
better for whom? Just him. What was it going to do for
Yeah.
you? What is wrong with you?
And at the time, I thought that it would be beneficial for both of us because I've never signed off on a vehicle before.
Oh.
I've never owned my own vehicle.
Oh,
and
oh,
I
oh.
asked him about it
Right. And he said, yeah, this will be good for us. And you thought it would be good for you. How?
because I thought at some point I would think about moving to Maine with him because we were going to be together forever.
And what
as
was
he
going to
telling
happen
me.
with the other girl?
She was going to move up with us.
And
at some
everybody was
point.
just going to be hunky-dory and nobody was ever going to there was never going to be a problem in this arrangement. That's what you thought.
Right.
Right.
That's what we were hoping on when I signed off on it, yes.
Really? Okay. So keep talking.
Okay. So I signed off on this vehicle. When it came down to paying for the down payment, we had agreed that we were going to put a joint together of $4,000 down. I had an open credit card that had a $7,000 limit, so I said, okay.
Oh, we can't have that. We got to make sure to use up the whole limit. All right. Go ahead.
So I said, I'll put $3,000 down, and he had $1,000, so he put $1,000 down.
Why doesn't he just put all the money down if it's his car?
Because he didn't have $4,000 to put down.
Oh, well, maybe he shouldn't be buying a $50,000 car.
Yeah.
Right. And that
So-
didn't occur to you?
Not at all.
Not
at
at
the
all.
time, like I said.
Not at all.
it
Well,
made-
how much does the new car have to cost for you to say, whoa, if you don't have a down payment, why are you buying a car this expensive?
Honestly, at the time, it didn't
Because
process
you've
to me
never
how
broken
expensive
up
it
with
was.
anybody in your life and you didn't know that some relationships break up?
I didn't know that.
You weren't planning
How-
ahead how this one might break up?
I mean, I didn't know
How
that this was going-
2 out of 3 might end up together and squeeze the third one out?
Yeah, I didn't know the responsibilities that came with signing
Well,
off
what
on a
did you?
vehicle
I'm
with somebody.
sorry, just a second, because the document you signed says what happens, and you're not a cretin. You know that, in fact, you are signing and therefore adopting responsibility for it. You know when you did it that it meant that your credit is going to go in the toilet. Because answer me this: how does a person get bad credit?
As far as I know, you get bad credit from having debts that you owe.
And that
And
you
then lots
don't
of credit
pay.
checks. Correct.
That you don't pay, right? So you
Right.
put your name on a vehicle with him that you expect him to pay, right?
Right.
How'd that work out for you, darling?
Not great, apparently.
Right, because here's in a shocking turn of events, what did he do?
We got in arguments after arguments, and I broke up with him.
And he isn't paying.
Right.
Who saw that coming?
I guess not me.
Yeah, not you. Mr. Taylor, what's going on?
Hello. So at the beginning, we were talking about getting a different car because of the snow.
Well, no. Back it up. So you're dating, what's this third party's name? First name only.
Tiffany.
So you're dating Tiffany, and you become friends with Bethan,
Correct.
and then you and Tiffany decide that you want to spice up things because, you need more than what you got. And so you bring Bethan into the quotient?
In layman's terms, yes.
Oh, no. I want to know the professional terms. What would be the other different terms?
We all thought that we all had a mutual feelings for each other and decided that's how we wanted to go with it.
I bet you did, cowboy. And then what happens?
We were good for a while
And then?
until, I guess, Thanksgiving's really when it all started going downhill.
How did it go downhill?
I wasn't with her on Thanksgiving.
With who?
But
I can't keep it straight.
either one of them.
Okay.
They were together on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And apparently so was Bethan's new boyfriend.
Okay, hold on a second. So while the three of you are in a threesome, Bethan gets a new boyfriend?
That's what it seemed like to everyone involved.
But she denies it.
She denied that it started then. But
Okay.
as last thing I knew, they were still together now.
Okay, so then what happens?
She broke up with me in December. And then she proposed to my now wife in, I think, November.
Okay,
And then they broke up in January.
and when do you get Bethan to do your bidding on your $50,000 brand new Jeep?
The vehicle was purchased in October.
What exactly did she put down on the car?
$3,000.
Were you supposed to pay her back?
It was never discussed that I was supposed to pay her back. At the time, we were together in a relationship, and it was something that was better for all of us.
How was it going to be better for everybody for you to have a $50,000 Jeep in another state? I know it would be better for you, but how is it going to be better for everybody?
So we were looking together before that one was picked. And then since we were going to be together, it was better to get a vehicle that was better. They were going to come up.
Oh, by the way, when I say the two of them, Tiffany forked over how much for the Jeep?
Nothing.
Oh, how come?
She actually didn't know that we went and got the Jeep.
What did Tiffany say when you showed up with a brand new Jeep?
Where'd you get a Jeep?
And what did you say?
I told her the dealership.
Yeah, you still didn't tell her, so you were obviously keeping from her that Ms. Ward had helped you to purchase it. Why were you keeping it from Tiffany?
So there was, I guess, a power struggle between the two of them.
Oh.
And I didn't want it to escalate. Which
Didn't see that coming, did we? A power struggle for what? Over you?
Yeah.
So she puts down $3,000 for the down payment. Mm-hmm. And let me ask you a question, Mr. Taylor. Are you making the payments on the Jeep that, I guess they put it in both of your names, Ms. Ward?
Yes, ma'am.
And so are you making the payments, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, how far behind are you?
I'm not.
Okay, because you were, right?
I had one that had to be put at the end because of my job, but now it's...
I don't know what you're saying. You missed a payment? Is that what you're trying to say? You missed one payment?
I would have missed one.
Well, why was she getting all these notices? You make it sound like you took care of things in advance, but it sounds to me like you took care of things when she blew up because she was getting notices, right?
I think the notices were because of the date that the payments were due. Sometimes it would be it wouldn't be late, but it would have to be not on the date.
Ms. Ward, how did you find out that he was behind on payments?
In April, I got the email from Wells Fargo stating that he had missed a payment and he owed 2 months of payment. It was the month that he missed
March and April.
in the current month.
Yeah.
Correct. So I texted both of them and said, just so you know, I received an email.
Who's the other one?
Kyle and Tiffany.
When did you break up with Tiffany?
I broke up with Tiffany with January of 2021.
Okay. Did you invite Tiffany to join you and whatever other fellow you were with?
No, and I was not dating, Clayton is his name. I was not dating him until January of 2021.
Okay. And is he into this stuff too or no?
No, not at all.
Okay. So why Tiffany?
Because at the time, from when I messaged him in February, I had barely gotten any responses from him about the situation. And so I texted both of them to make sure that they got the notification.
Okay, and why were you reaching out to him in February?
In February of 2021, I reached out to him when I received the sticker that goes on the license plate, the registration.
And you asked him to take your name off the loan?
I asked him to refinance the Jeep in his own name, correct?
Right, and how'd that go?
It did not. He didn't respond to that.
Of course not, because since his credit is bad, he would have to pay more. And if he was willing to do that, he wouldn't have used you the way he used you, right? So that wasn't going to happen. And of course, a bank isn't just going to let you off, right? Because they got you on the hook. They banked on you being responsible in his place, right? So, okay. So now your name is on there for how many years at his mercy?
As far as I know, I think it's about 20 or 30 years. At that point, I wasn't sure how long.
No, it's not 20, 30. Okay, you really are naive. It's not 20 or 30 years on a car. How long is the loan, Mr. Taylor?
5 years.
5 years? That's actually longer than I thought it would be. So it's a 5-year loan, and you're paying how much a month on this car?
$854.
Okay. And you can't afford a down payment on it. She's got to give you 3/4 of the down payment, but you think an $854 car note is just peachy for a guy in your position, right?
No, it's bad.
Okay. So what you're suing for is to get the $3,000 down payment back. Now, he describes a situation, and so do you, because when I ask you, why did you give him $3,000, it's like, well, we were all going to be together. That's your answer. And I think that once it turned out that you weren't going to be together, you look back on this and you say, maybe this wasn't the best idea, and now you'd like your money back, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I don't blame you, except for here is how it goes. I have to find that it is a loan at the time that it's made. If you do it because it's the girlfriend, let me use your exact words, it was the girlfriend thing to do, okay? And then it turns out that things didn't work out between you. I guess you're just stuck with the downside of making the decisions that you make, you see? So I can't turn something into a loan, which at the time was a gift. The dispositive issue is, was it a gift or a loan at the time? So if you bought it because you thought you were going to be together forever, and it turns out that you're not, then too bad, so sad. Your money's gone. It was a bad investment. Verdict for the defendant.
So the plaintiff does not get the $3,000 she's after from the defendant. Mr. Taylor lucks out here. Ms. Ward, let me ask you, what are you thinking right now?
To be honest, I'm a little frustrated. I was trying to explain to her at the time that he made these promises about working it out with me, but you know, if he pointed out and he said that there wasn't anything claimed, then I guess I can't argue with it now.
So your name is still on that loan along with his, right? So you're going to be on the hook for that till the end of it's a 5-year loan.
Yeah, I guess so.
And where are you? He's in Maine. What state are you in?
He's now moved to Jacksonville, Florida. I'm down near Micanopy, Florida.
Oh, you're both in Florida. Well, hey, maybe you can go borrow the car that you're making the payments on, you know?
I hope so.
Listen,
I'd love to drive it.
I feel sorry for you. I feel so, but what a tough lesson to learn. Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Taylor, I got to ask you, don't you feel sorry for her in some way?
In some way, yes.
All right. Well, listen, she's on the hook for it, and maybe you'll let her drive around in the car at some point in the future. It's a very interesting situation. You sorry you got her involved in this or not?
Yes. It was a sticky
All
situation.
right. Well, good for you at least. All right. Well, amazing situation here, and that's what goes on in court. So thank you very much. I hope you can work it out with her, okay? And that'll bring this case to a close.
Doug, how many times have we had cases where money changes from a boyfriend to a girlfriend or vice versa, they break up, and initially it was a gift and suddenly they're arguing it's a loan? The reality is this: once you give somebody something, that's it. You cannot convert a gift to a loan. You can do vice versa, but a gift is a gift forever.
Marilyn, if we had met in high school, do you think we would have dated?
Oh, God, no.
I'm not surprised at that.
I was very much the disco queen at the time. I dated boys who wore platform shoes and danced salsa. I grew up in Miami. Everyone I knew was Hispanic. Everyone I dated was Hispanic. It was a very different. I wouldn't have dated a long-haired hippie, which is kind of what you were.
You probably didn't
listening to Led Zeppelin.
You didn't go to a lot of tractor pulls, I guess.
No tractor pulls.
Right? All right. Well, you know, I got to agree with you. We probably would not have dated.
Your life was very different. When you grew up in the 70s, it was what?
What was my life like? Yeah, I was listening to like Led Zeppelin and you know, going to a lot of concerts and that sort of thing. And I wore jeans every day and a T-shirt.
Probably the same jeans that weren't even washed.
Totally would not have been interested.
Right.
I'm sure. You know, that the Greek philosopher Heraclitus said you can't step in the same river twice. Right? So I think I stepped in your river at just the right time and got swept away, I guess. But it worked out okay.